As we see Big Show and Eddie Guerrero, this is the second preliminary match for the northern part of the Tag Team Turmoil bracket. We have Big Show and Mark Henry, the big men, versus Eddie Guerrero and Chris Jericho, the Radicalz. As you see Eddie Guerrero make a quick tag to Chris Jericho with a drop toe hold into an elbow drop into the lower back of the Big Show. Headlock and a nice reverse neck breaker. Drop kick there from Chris Jericho to the Big Show. One of the biggest men in WWE today. As you see a reverse neck breaker. Chris Jericho once named himself the Giant Killer for a little bit of time as he fought men like the Big Show and Mark Henry. As you see Chris Jericho get attacked by the Big Show. Chris Jericho with that getting that huge headbutt applied to him. Nice insecurity to the back of the head by Chris Jericho. And Chris Jericho with a huge moonsault. A double springboard moonsault onto the Big Show, taking him down. The Radicalz have been able to keep Big Show out of his corner so far this match, although Big Show has not made a huge attempt to get into his corner. Big Show getting kicked around by Chris Jericho. And a couple of big shots. As you see a huge bear hug suplex by the big man Show. Now the winner of this match will have to go on and face Jinder Mahal and Drew McIntyre of 3MB in the first round of the tournament. You see Mark Henry actually going in and tackling Eddie Guerrero out into the bottom, and he has some sort of problem with Eddie Guerrero as he follows him to the outside. But Eddie Guerrero whips Mark Henry back in the middle of the ring, and Chris Jericho, Lionheart Chris Jericho, attacks Mark Henry some more. Nice takedown there by Jericho. You see a huge chop block taking down the big man. Using a chop block like that is a great move to use against a big man. Uses his weight against him as you take out the knee and they fall down upon themselves. You see that huge splash by the world's strongest man, Mark Henry. He gets a few good shots against Chris Jericho. Nice Hurricane Rana back neck breaker. That's not the correct term. That's what I'm going to say. As you see, Mark Henry get whipped into the enemy corner here, and Eddie Guerrero get tagged in. These two lightweight wrestlers from WCW. Double hip toss, double elbow. Gonna kick it up. And Eddie Guerrero, now the legal man, gonna go for the suplex on the giant super heavyweight Mark Henry, and a second one. This is absolutely amazing to see by Eddie Guerrero. And a third one, he hit the three amigos on the world's strongest man, Mark Henry, as Chris Jericho runs blockage. Only a one count as Mark Henry is able to kick out of the three amigos as Eddie Guerrero takes out the knee of Mark Henry, and he takes down the big man. Armbar onto Mark Henry. He's now going to whip around Mark Henry, whip him into the enemy corner, but Chris Jericho is not there to help him out as Mark Henry counters into a huge splash in the corner. Takes Eddie Guerrero down onto the mat. As you see now, an armbar headbutt into the shoulder of Eddie Guerrero. Chris Jericho trying to get a quick swipe, trying to grab at Mark Henry, but none avails as we get Mark Henry lifting Eddie Guerrero up high and trying to injure that leg by dropping him down flat on it. Now kicking Eddie Guerrero to the outside. Mark Henry calling him to get back in, rolls out after him, gonna grab him, pull him back into the ring, and go back in himself. Couple of big shots by Mark Henry, and a Hurricane Rana, huge Hurricane Rana, to turn the tides back in the favor of Eddie Guerrero. Eddie Guerrero now going to turn over Mr. Mark Henry and go for a submission maneuver onto Mark Henry. Will he tap? Will he be able to get out of it? It looks as if Eddie Guerrero actually let go. And Mark Henry actually countering. But a Hurricane Rana once again by Eddie Guerrero. sending him down to the mat as he picks the back of Mark Henry. Now with that flip kick, Eddie Guerrero going to get a headlock onto the World's Strongest Man. Try and take out the knees. Try and take down that huge frame of Mark Henry. Trying to keep Big Show away is Chris Jericho, but a poke to the eyes from Mark Henry might give him enough time to get to his tag partner, Big Show. As he runs around this ring trying to get over to the Big Show, he does make a tag, and the freshman Big Show now makes his way to the ring, dwarfing the smaller man, Eddie Guerrero. But Eddie Guerrero has a lot of fight in him with a couple of kicks, and now an Irish whip into the enemy corner, where he might try and tag his partner, Eddie Guerrero, now tagging in Chris Jericho. Huge elbow drop by Chris Jericho to the small of the back of the Big Show. 1, 2. Only a 2 count as Big Show is able to kick out. As he get a nice neck breaker by Chris Jericho. Eddie Guerrero going out on the wrong side. It's going to take a little while walking back to his corner. But Big Show trying to tag in Mark Henry. He does. Mark Henry now back into the middle of the ring against Chris Jericho here. One big shot sends Jericho down to the mat as they tie up here in the middle of the ring. Headlock by World's Strongest Man. Going to lift him up, slam him down on the mat. That 7-foot tall Mark Henry slamming down Chris Jericho from so high and just manhandling Jericho. Now going for a fall-away slam. The World's Strongest Man gonna drag in the Lionheart, Chris Jericho, and go for the huge plant and gonna go for the pin here. 1, 2, huge flip by Eddie Guerrero, able to save his tag team partner and save his tag team's chance at the WWE Tag Team Championship as we see the World's Strongest Slam now as he goes for a pin. 1, 2. Once again, Eddie Guerrero saved his teammate. The ref had a bit of time where he didn't count it as now Big Show getting in the ring. And Chris Jericho seemingly able to counter this aggression by the World's Strongest Man and now attack, get on the offensive with a dropkick. He's going to try and tag in Eddie Guerrero now. Eddie Guerrero now is the legal man. But the World's Strongest Man with a huge, huge move. Just going to tackle him and take him down to the mat. 1, 2. Only a 2 count as Eddie Guerrero is able to kick out there. No real huge finisher going to take him out. Eddie Guerrero did kick out at 2. And now we get a camel clutch here by the World's Strongest Man. But that elbow didn't quite connect by Chris Jericho. As Chris Jericho now fighting Big Show in the middle of the ring. As Mark Henry actually detached that camel clutch as he felt he did enough damage and want to get back to brawling. The man from Silsbee, Texas, fighting the man from El Paso, Texas. As we get an armbar. And now Eddie Guerrero able to tag in Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho from Winnipeg, Canada. Oh my. Drop kicking out of that corner, but a drop toe hold takes the momentum right back into Mark Henry's favor. But the sense of world neckbreaker might get it back in his favor as he kicks over the big man Mark Henry. Tries to injure that arm, trying to weaken the strength of the World's Strongest Man. It's not going to work though, as a huge punch to the gut. As the World's Strongest Man tries to get over to the Big Show. Not able to as he gets hit from behind by Chris Jericho. No. A nice roll-up pin here. 1, 2. Only 1 count as the World's Strongest Man is able to push out of that pinning maneuver. And now both illegal men whipping the legal men into their enemy corner. You see Mark Henry rolling to the outside and Chris Jericho taking out the Big Show. Chris Jericho going to the outside. Actually getting grabbed by the Big Show. Mark Henry able to stay out of harm's way. However, now he's going to try and pick up the pieces that Big Show left for him in the middle of this ring, slamming the face of Chris Jericho against that mat. Going to lift up Jericho once again. But Jericho with that roll-up pin once again. 1, 2. Only 1 count once again. Chris Jericho has to put more damage onto the World's Strongest Man. As you see, a reverse neckbreaker. Now, will Chris Jericho go for the pin again? Yes. This time it's flat pin. 1, 2. Only 1 count once again. Chris Jericho trying to go for a lot of light pins. As you see, a reverse neckbreaker once again. He As we see JBL, he's going to interfere in the match. He's coming and running down. Chris Jericho seems to be hiding. He's a bit confused here. As you see Mark Henry also grabbing. Now, Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho countering with a neckbreaker. Maybe perhaps JBL is a bit pissed off that he's not commentating this match. As you see the men from Silsbee, Texas go for a huge abdominal stretch. And JBL now getting in the ring. Whose side is he on here? That is the question here. As he's got Chris Jericho trying to turn over Mark Henry for the walls. JBL distracting Mr. Guerrero. Will JBL interrupt? Yes, JBL just interrupted that walls of Jericho onto Mark Henry. JBL has got to get out of here. The ref has got to get JBL out of this matchup. As you see now, the world's strongest man, Mark Henry, grabbing onto Jericho. And JBL and Big Show just wreaking havoc on Eddie Guerrero. The tables seem to be against Chris Jericho and Eddie Guerrero, but Jericho now going for a pin. 1, 2, 3. Jericho and Guerrero against the odds win against Big Show and Mark Henry.